Why does everything seem to happen over the weekend when I don't make videos? Weekend's family time, people, you know, just behave yourselves over the weekend. Hi guys, it's True here, bringing you another True Talk episode, and I want to talk about the Digital Foundry escapades over the weekend. You probably already know about it, but I just wanted to give you my take on the situation. Basically, Digital Foundry, for those of you who don't know, which isn't going to be many of you, do technical assessments of software. They measure frame rates and they measure resolutions. That's basically what they do. And they did this with a game called Redout for the Xbox One X. It just received an enhancement, an X enhancement. So they normally do like these comparisons with the X versus the Pro, comment on the resolutions, the frame rate, and say which is the better version based on their findings. Well, this one got them in a little bit of hot water because they claimed that the game didn't scale above 1080p on the Xbox One X, and only that the HUD rendered in true 4K. Well, after posting their video, the developers of the game started getting a lot of flack on Twitter from silly idiots. As you do, as we all know, the internet is full of idiots. So these keyboard warriors got on to the Twitter of the developer and started congratulating them for a poorly optimized patch, calling them names, you know, slagging them off, saying, "Can we have the real patch, please?" You know, not being very pleasant, to be honest with you. And the developer thought, "What's this all about?" So obviously they looked into it and found it was in regards to Digital Foundry's video. And they had basically called Digital Foundry out, saying it is a total lie, that this actually that their findings. And they actually released a press release, which I woke up to on Sunday morning in my email account. Let me just see if I can quickly find it for you. I should have really had this opened up on the screen. And as per usual, when you want it to open fast, it damn well doesn't, does it? So, yeah, it's from 34 Big Things, who are developers. This is the official press release that I got emailed to me. Nicest part of a cloudy Saturday morning, waking up to a shitstorm raging upon you based on what we can call incompetent technical analysis at best, fake news at worst. Digital Foundry just published an opinionated video on our game Redout, in which they talk about the Xbox One X performances, frame rate and resolution, mentioning over and over that Redout shows a 1080p rendering for the Xbox One version. In bold, this is a pure straight lie. Underlined, the Xbox One X got an enhancement update a couple of weeks ago which brings 4K rendering with dynamic resolution scaling to everyone, owners or not of a 4K TV. That's in parentheses. More specifically, we managed to scale the resolution between 90% and 50% of native 4K, which means the resolution goes from the upper limit of 3456 by 1944 to a lower one of 1920 by 1080, confirmed also by VG Tech. I'll mention who they are in a little bit. More technical details to follow in the next few days when everybody will be back from the holiday vacations. Meanwhile, let's spell it out to you, it's not 1080p. In the meantime, we posted our thoughts on the matter together with considerations on lazy devs, crunch culture and the amount of work needed to develop games. Please read our official statement here. There is also mention of in an earlier tweet or response that there was considering legal action in regards to it as well, but I think that's since been retracted. I don't think they could. I'm not sure what they could take them to court with, to be honest with you, because I'm not sure. I'm not a legal minded person, but anyway. But the question at hand is, what do Digital Foundry do? And how do we know what they're doing is correct? Now, what I specifically mean is, there's not many people out there. In fact, actually, the VG Tech is a similar kind of site that does things, but in a lesser detail. They basically just post videos. Usually don't have, like the Redout video, for example, didn't have commentary. It just basically monitored the frame rate, had a frame rate counter on the top in a split screen view of the Xbox original and Xbox One X versions. just to show the difference and drops in frame rate when they happened. And there was also made reference in the description of the video, which probably not a lot of people read, mentioned about the resolution, and it used the dynamic scaler. So they had the correct, they did a test on it and found the correct things that the developers have said the game has. But Digital Foundry didn't. Now Digital Foundry are considered to be the be all and end all when it comes to these technical analyses of games. But in recent times they have made a number of mistakes. They did the wrong version comparison of PUBG. There was an incident with Project Cars, I think there was, but I'm not familiar what that actually was. And now obviously we have this incident as well, where they've been called to task in what they've been presented is not right. So the question is, how do we know what they're telling us is correct? I mean, I have no idea how they do this, how they monitor things. Obviously it's some kind of clever software that they obviously use, but people just take them from their word, and because there's not an awful lot of sites out there doing the same thing, they are basically the only word on these subjects. As I say, this VGA, which I'd never previously heard of actually up until this incident happened, do it as well, but on such a lesser scale. They, no offence to them, but they may as well not be there. So when you've only got one person, you know, crying out all this information and stats, that's a hell of a lot of responsibility and a hell of a lot of power. And it can't be right, really, because we know nothing of their testing procedures. How long do they play a game for? How long do they test a game for? What's the criteria for where they decide to test the game? You know what I mean? It's all these questions. I mean, did they just play the game for an hour and smash a video out? Because one of the other things the developers of this game accused them of as well was clickbaiting. And I have to say, I followed Digital Foundry for quite some time, and I've noticed over recent months a tendency to get videos out there ASAP. And it's no coincidence that within this time frame all those errors have occurred, at least the errors that we know about have occurred. And I've also noticed within that time frame that they've kind of moved away from just presenting the facts that they find. That's obviously providing we say their facts are correct, obviously. They're just going from presenting the facts that they find, the raw data that they find, and they've been interjecting more of their own opinions and views on it, and a little bit of sniping here and there for both consoles, not just Xbox One, for PlayStation 4 as well. And even when sometimes they throw in an extra spoke in the works with comparing against the PC version as well. But they've started to interject some of their own personality and own thoughts into it, and that's what they shouldn't be doing here. They're a channel that's built up on tech analysis. It is what it is, but like I say, providing we're considering what they're presenting to us is correct. But like I say, how do we know what they're presenting to us is correct? Basically, we've just got a squiggly line on the screen most of the time, which depicts the frame rate, and a counter at the top, and we take their word for it, the resolutions. Because I mean, I watch their videos on an iPad, which can't display up to the resolutions that they're supposed to be displaying on the screen there. So I'm just taking their word for it, as a lot of other users are. And to be honest with you, their comment section is appalling. Their comment section is basically fanboy central, with fanboys wading in, slagging each other off, and obviously this prompted the abuse on Twitter of the developer of this game. And I'm really glad that this developer has called them to task, really, and I have to tend to agree that they are becoming more clickbaity, and they are rushing videos out. I think what Digital Foundry should do is, firstly, officially apologise on their channel. Secondly, I think they need to disclose their testing procedure, what they use, how long they test games for, and actually show us what they actually do to actually arrive at these results and information that they provide us with. As they're the only person doing this on a major scale, then I think they have to do that. If there was only one games review site out there, or games review YouTube channel out there, you know what I mean, the people they have a lot of power, and they need to make sure that the power that they have is correct, really, and they're not damaging developers and other people's product by getting incorrect information out. Now, incidentally, Digital Foundry have withdrawn the video, and they have issued a statement on their Twitter basically apologising to the developer that they have now agreed that it does have a dynamic resolution scaler, and they will be retesting the product on Monday, which is today when I'm doing this video. So they've admitted they've made the mistake, but these mistakes seem to be cropping more and more into their work. Other credence whether I'm saying that they're more clickbait as well is PUBG on Xbox One. Obviously that's a hot topic at the moment. It's going to draw in a lot of clicks, a lot of people, a lot of clicks here. And today, correct me if I'm wrong, I think they've done 3 separate videos, one of which includes a glaring error where they had the wrong version on one of the Xboxes that they tested. Now, this is a game that's in game preview. Obviously it's attracting a lot of attention, so there's a lot of traffic generated by putting PUBG in your title there. No other point anywhere on their channel, from where I can tell anyway, so again correct me if I'm wrong here, have they tested a game after each and every patch, especially for a game that is in an unfinished state and clearly in game preview. That again leads credence to me that they are going down the clickbait avenue. They're wanting the clicks, they're wanting the money, they're wanting, to get people in there to view their videos, which I understand. They're not doing this for their health, are they? They're doing it as a business. But again, when it's detracting from your credibility, I think it needs looking at. Also, just my advice to them, I would close your comment section off. They don't respond to any of their commenters, and their comment section are just pure vile, to be honest with you. It's a war zone. And don't allow comments on your videos. Problem solved. Do you know what I mean? So there's my thoughts on it anyway. I'm glad that they are retesting the video. I'm not saying that the developers of Redout are going to be happy with the new video that Digital Foundry are going to produce, but it just makes you think, doesn't it? When they hold all this power and they are really the only people testing and giving this information, we need to know more about what they do. We need a bit of disclosure from them, and we need a bit of more care and consideration taken by them, because this could have really hurt these developers' sales of this game. And it still might, even if they retract it, and even if it comes out with a new video saying this is the best thing since sliced bread, it could have still caused irreparable harm, really. So maybe they do have some legal recourse for this as for loss of earnings. I simply don't know. I'm not a lawyer, but it's an interesting topic, really. But yeah, don't take Digital Foundry as at their word. They're not as squeaky clean and innocent as they tend to make out to be. Anyway, that's my thoughts on the matter. Thanks everybody for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.